Okay, my friends, this is about as serious as it gets. I've been screaming about the educational system for many years and calling it a system of denial and dismissal, which it is. If you present evidence to Yale or Harvard or any of the top universities, the immediate response that I have met with the research that I have done, which is unimpeachable, can't deny my research, is they won't look at it. So I've been very upset about this, and now I'm looking at this right here. I've gone to a lot of schools, from Coursera, University of Geneva, Johns Hopkins, Rice University, other ones I can't remember, but it's all free. Now, and they really are absolutely phenomenally, magnificently excellent. They follow you and they tell you, here's the courses that you're interested in. Here's a quantum this, here's, two photon physics, and, I love that stuff. So anyway, my point is, this is from the CEO. They understand we're in a whole different situation now. People don't have money to pay these colleges to tell them, to say to them exactly what they tell them. They need to learn. They don't need to be educated. Educated right now means if I tell you something and you say exactly what I tell you, you're educated. If you don't say exactly what I tell you, I will fail you. You're not an educated person. Your life is not going to be very meaningful. Now, I say no. Let's have that discussion and say, here's what currently is thought, and let's discuss if it makes sense. That's not allowed now. This will be allowed in my school, absolutely, because we are starting a new school. And I start tomorrow. I've got some things going on. The first thing I'm going to do is Michael Telliger and I are going to start talking tomorrow, and I have some other people that are going to try to hook in with a network of these outside researchers that haven't been allowed to speak, like me, and we are going to network it into a school which will have classes led by each one of these independent researchers that have been crushed over the years. And then somehow we're going to have to contribute to it, because I don't want to ask for money for the whole thing. You have to pay to come here. No, I want it. If you don't have money, well, you don't have money. That's all. If you got money, well, give us some. Now, this is the CEO of Coursera. And they say it's going to start a whole new education system. What started as a short-term response to this crisis will result in a long-term digital transformation of higher education, which is what we're going to do right now. I am showing everything that I'm talking about. And like this, new species, likely of some kind of human origin, and they have a different type of foot structure inside. They have springs instead of tendons, but other than that, they have a regular tibia and a fibia, and but the toes are inside. I call them no toes. and we have all kinds of stuff, and these bones, what it's called, look up nucleophilic substitution, nucleophilic invasion. And what all it means is in your body, chemistry is continuously transitioning. And these are the transition metals. They give and take. Give me some sulfur, I'll give you some of this. Give me some CO2, I'll give you some oxygen. Boop, boop, boop. And when you die, boom, they stop. Hey, I got to give some stuff up. Well, no place to give it up. Well, then I got to become stable. If you can become stable in salty water, long duration conditions, they will turn into rocks. Once they dry out, they're just rocks, because the minerals have found a partner to partner with. So in here, they want some extra electrons, or they want to give some up, and they find somebody to do it with. And it's all over, and that becomes a rock. So Coursera, and then yesterday or a couple days ago, I did one about, I saw the CEO of YouTube came on and said the same thing. We want openness. We want to start learning the truth. If we could get a deal going between Coursera and YouTube and my school, to present it as an open platform. You know, there's going to have to be some monitoring of it, which I'm not going to be able to do. I'm just going to do research. I'm out of this whole thing. I'm 72 years old. I don't care anymore about anything. All I want to do is get it out there and then be sure that I know where I'm going when I finish up. Because that's not allowed. You can't talk about God and eternity, and all of the things that were in the past are just nonsense to these people that are teaching us and forcing us to say what they say. I don't like that. I don't like to be forced to say something that I don't agree with, and especially when I can start presenting evidence that totally negates what is being said. And that's the case right now. So please, YouTube and Coursera and Roger. I think we're going to call it, I forget even what we're going to call it, New World Research Institute, something like that, because it's a new world. It's absolutely new world. Even light and everything else, we accelerate it. We can slow down light. We can see the particles. We found the muon long before Fermilab. I could show you the muons, and I have over and over and over. I'm not going to bother. Well, what the hell, I'll show you, and then we'll get off the case. All right, right there, that black ball, that's the muon. That's the black balls are muons that were attached to white balls that are the electrons. When they came in, just when they hit here, they just fell apart. We are the ones that photographed that 6 years ago, or even more probably. I can't remember now, it's been a long time. But if you look at what those particles look like, well, here's what NASA wants, Fermilab wants to see, is the black ball, which is a muon, does nothing when it explodes. The white shower, which is the electron, which is the white ball and the black ball put together. When they turn into Cherenkov radiation, the black ball stays exactly the way it is, and the white one turns into showers. Exactly what I just showed you. So, you know, and not only that, this is the particles when they actually concuss. You see that? That's what they look like, the black ball and the white ball. And as it smashed, it fell apart. The black balls fell apart from the white balls. And we could see them here. This is why they wobble and spin, because this is the concussive part. The black part does nothing other than pull the white ones back in. It's gravity, whatever you want to call it. And Dr. Don Lincoln was making fun of me the other day, saying, oh, they call it graviton, they call it gravelectrons. Everybody's making up these silly things, this big silly things going on the internet. Don't listen to them. And then in the same Fermilabs, they came out and they said, if anybody shows you a neutrino, which that's the, anybody shows you a muon, they're a liar. Well, I'm a liar then, because that's the muons. And these are the electrons. And two of them together make an electron, which we never knew the black ball was attached to the white ball. So this is what we always thought was the only thing that made an electron. Well, no, the two of them together. And you never saw it until we would have put it through the Venturi, which Rod Moore designed and figured out. And then all of a sudden they stack up and create a photon, which bounces off of you. But if your electron is just this one side or the other, this is like two little bar magnets back to back. And they create a magnetic field around them, which means as they concuss through the air, they create a wave in front of it, which I showed that too. I showed all of this stuff so many times, hundreds, literally hundreds of times. Hundreds, not just 100, hundreds. There's the wave. The particle, which here's a particle. Right there, there's a particle. There's a black and white particle. They explode and fall apart. And where do they do that, Roger? Well, they do that after they come through the air. As the particle being way back here, the wave in front of it has to force itself through all the other gaseous particles that are in the air that have electrons. They have to be pushed and shoved. It's push to shove. Then, as it approaches the Venturi, Roger, it speeds up. And what does it do? It pulls itself completely out of the wave and explodes at the Venturi. And then spitting out of the Venturi is the Higgs fields. Between here and here is this white spray. Right? Here to here. These sprays, if we could harvest them prior to turning back into like regular light, we have hundreds of times more energy. Hundreds. Now, this is a particle nobody's ever seen. This was an anti-spinner. Now, that's got to be antimatter or something along those lines. That's a blue particle spinning to the right, means it shows drifts to the left. We can see there's a further distance here than there is up here. So it's either slowing down or speeding up, one or the other. And that's the particle. And that is what happens as it comes forward. And you can get so deep if you want. Let's get a little deep. What the hell? There's a thing called the 21 centimeter line. And the 21 centimeter line says, if I have a hydrogen atom here, and I come within 21 centimeters of it with a magnetic field, blip, it flips its polarities, or it does something with its spin. Now, what happens here, Roger? Well, here's what happens. There's the light particle coming through. Pulse, pulse, pulse. These are waves. These are waves, 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 waves. Well, the particle creates the wave and so forth. Now, here they come in on a parallel plane. And that is what it says in the 21 centimeter line. Now, then it does this. And you see now they stack up this way. See, they were this way, and all of a sudden they go this way. And then they start to like separate into like their own electrons. They have to be an electron and an electron back to back, because these will bounce off you. They don't burn you. I mean, they will in a laser because it's so concentrated. But electricity, static, even little tiny bits of static, that kind of whacks you, and because it wants to incorporate, that wants to bounce. It's because static is only like that. It's half. And he wants to find a partner, that's all. Now, as this comes forward, you see darker, lighter, lighter explosion. Now, look at how cool this is. There it is in a little box configuration. Spikes coming up and down the top, you see it? Brighter. And then it does this. Somehow it pushes the whites off and the blacks off, I don't know. And then it does this kind of squirrely looking stuff. I mean, it's just crazy. But these are polarities, and these are concussion events. All right, and that is the maximum concussion event, is where these magnetic fields that surround have to force themselves through a venturi. And CERN knows this now. They look up CERN as a photon collider. They explain the whole thing, and they realize it now. And they said, we've been trying to do this since 1978, could never figure it out. And now we figured it, well, they think they figured it out. Well, we figured it out long ago. It's the venturi. And they show it. The protons come together and it squirts out a particle. Well, the particle that's squirting out is the one we're showing here. And we showed actual photons. They think it creates a particle out of nothing. They're still so wrong about every single thing, even Fermilab. They're talking about the muon. They didn't find a muon. Absolutely not. No way in the world. That black particle will never, ever, 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 1,000 times to the parsec, ever create an independent particle that they can spin around for circles forever. It can't happen. It wants to be attached to magnetism. It wants to be attached. They think they can hold it in the middle of a magnetic field. No. It wants to be attached. It's sucking those white particles back. The only way we were able to detach them is in the venturi. And the only way they will stay apart in the venturi is until they expend enough of their energy to not be able to stay apart. And then, bam, they get locked back together again. What they have done at Fermilab is they have created an electron. I don't have one around here. I usually have electrons laying around, but I don't have one. But all an electron is one of these black balls and one of these white balls. And though that you can force by a magnetic field to say, stay in the middle, stay in the middle, stay in the middle, stay in the middle, and it'll go around forever. That's what they did. They have an electron. They don't have a muon. We have muons. You cannot make that black ball separate from that white particle. They're just wrong about everything. And because they refuse, Don Lincoln at Fermilab is degrading us and just laughing at us. That's the way I'm taking it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just. But if I'd like to have him address this, if it's not me he's laughing at, who is he laughing at? He says, oh, they're making up all these big things, they can make up anything they want. But you can't take these people serious. And then he shows us all of his big equipment. We don't need a big equipment to do this. We're way on the lower end of the budget. We could save you a whole lot of money. But that's the part that is a problem too. Once you establish a funding system and you got a whole batch of money, I mean, what they did was absolutely unbelievable. You feed half the world. It's really unbelievable. If we get rid of wars and just walking around in circles doing the same thing over and over and never paying attention to reality, the world would be a pretty nice place, I think. You know, you get rid of this military spending. Yeesh. You know, I was talking to somebody about the other day. So, oh, that supports the economy. Oh, yeah, it's nice. Make a whole bunch of tanks. That gives people jobs. Well, what if you made a whole bunch of things that were nice for people instead of tanks? I think that would end up with a little bit better of an end result. Anyway, like I said, I'm 72 years old. I don't care anymore. I just want reality. Donkey Shane. Okay, my friends, my name is Roger Spur. I run Mud Fossil University. I had to start this as a response to the negative pushback by academia. And everybody was an expert. 100% dismissal and denial. This is the result. Okay, my friends, I was going to make a big joke out of it. I'm not going to. I'm going to make it very serious. What they are trying to find out is the smallest bits of particles that exist. Well, you end up with what they call quarks, which are really big particles. And then they say, in addition to these particles, there's these leptons. Are these leptons part of these particles? Well, yes, actually they are. And the electron and the muon is what we're going to focus on, because they create electron neutrinos and muon neutrinos, and then these bosons, which the bosons are really the muons. Let me show you. I don't know if they understand this yet or they don't, but I'm going to show you the Higgs, I'm going to show you the photons, I'm going to show you the gluons, which are muons and dark matter. We will see electrons, we will see muons, we will see electron showers, muon neutrinos, and then we will see the muons. Okay, I want to stick up for my good friend Rod Warren because he did this work years ago. This is from 2016, May of 2016. That's 5 years ago. This is what a green electron looks like, and a green electron as it floats through the air. And this green electron, well, I called it a green electron then. It's actually a green photon. That was years ago. Anyway, it is an electron right there. That is the muon, and these are the electrons. Now, half of that is just an electron by itself. That will burn you. The two of them together will bounce off of you. And they come in red and green and blue, and they spin, and they concuss. Now, I'm going to show you the red ones. Well, here's the green ones in the trail. Here they are. They are right there. Boom! And then they concuss, and they do that. Now, the red ones do the same thing. Now, the red ones I can show you are very, very interesting transition. When light comes through the air, it makes things glow. You see it's glowing a little bit as it can, but it has what they call a parallel structure. And if you look up the 21 centimeter line, it talks about being parallel and flipping them within a 21 centimeter range. A hydrogen changes its polarity and flips its. Anyway, here's what's happening. Here they don't have much of a definition. Here they start to get ready to concuss against each other. Boom, boom. So here they're just sort of going forward like they normally would, creating a wave of magnetism in front of it that affects all the other particles that are out in front of it. Now, as they stack up to try to get through the venturi, they start to concuss with each other. They start to glow a little more, a little more definition. See it? A little more definition. Then they go crazy over here. They do this. What the hell is that? It's the white ones are pushed off the side of the black ones. That I've never seen before. Back here you don't see it. Here you don't see it. But you see them twisted. See, here they were parallel. Then they twist up here, and they start to form these. And then they actually separate. The white ones get pushed back from the black ones. And then they hit the venturi here, and then that's all over. They just fall to pieces. And when they hit the venturi, this is the venturi right here. That's the venturi. And they fall apart. So we know we saw them attached. We know they're separated here. There's no question whatsoever. Absolutely none whatsoever. The black balls, and the black balls don't bother each other. They could be right next to each other. It's okay. You could come right next to me. That's fine. You could lay right over the top of me. No problem. But I want to be next to a white particle as soon as I can. So the white ones come out of here saying, everybody get away from me, get away, get away, get away. I'm coming through here as a shower, which is what they say, electron showers. And then it says, well, I'm sort of getting tired of doing this all by myself. Come on back. And the black ones say, no, you come to me. I want you to come to me. The black ones suck them back in. Black ones are gravity. And these ones that were attached over here, we know they were. We know they disassociated. I don't think they jumped over here to reattach. I think there's a whole batch of extra black ones laying around just waiting for the white ones. So Rodney has a damn good reason to be upset, and I don't know if he is or not, because he's as quiet as a church mouse. He's the nicest guy you will ever meet, but he is a man of very, very few words. All the time we've been working on this, we had some personal discussions in the early days, but that goes years and years ago. And 5, 6 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, we stopped pretty much. And now, but just recently I heard from him a couple of times. But it burns you, it grates on you, because everything you do has no effect on anything. Anyway, I'm not going to go on that road. This is what, and I'm upset for Rod, even if he's not upset. I'm upset for you, brother. I know I've been screaming about myself, and I should be screaming about you, but every time I talk about this, I talk about you, and believe me, trust me, brother, I know how you must feel, because, well, trust me, I know how you feel. All right, I love you all, and I'm just going to keep going with this. I'm sure I got a couple more things to say, because I rarely have little else to say. Okay, my friends, my name is Roger Spur, and I am speaking for Rodney Warren, who is in Australia, and he was the one who discovered the muon long ago, and here is the muon right there, that black ball. It is attached to an electron. The two of them together is a dipole. We would call that electron. We've never seen that dark matter. That is the dark matter as well as being a muon. Side by side, they make a photon. That photon is flowing through the air. And that photon is the particle that exists here and controls a huge magnetic wave, creating this concussive glow to all the particles that are in the air, because every electron that pushes against another electron causes a glow. This is the most intense part of the glow, but the whole area has to glow because the wave forced by the particle makes everything glow. Particle-wave duality, accelerated light, Venturi, separation of the actual charges. All right? This is not silly. And Rodney has a right to be upset, and I think he's pretty upset, and I don't blame him. Here it is right there. There's the muons. That black ball is a muon. You just saw it attached. It was attached like this. It was a white ball and a black ball. And the white ball is the electron showers, and the black ball is the muon. And let's see if anybody else thinks about those things. You saw the black ball. The black ball is what's called a muon neutrino, and it turns into a muon when it concusses, but it doesn't do anything. It doesn't concuss. It does nothing. The white electron neutrino comes in at a high speed into what they call a Cherenkov radiation. It turns into those white showers. Exactly what I just showed you a moment ago. And the two of them together make the particle, and two of them together is that particle. Back to back is a photon. One of them like that would incorporate into you. That's an electron. That creates static. It creates electricity. It creates lightning. When it's light, the two of them together are semi-neutral. They bounce. That's why you glow. Now, this is the particle, and they say it wobbles and spins. Oh, obviously. That's the one that creates the showers and is concussive. That has no concussive value whatsoever. None. Zero. And I showed you that. It's quite obvious what I just showed you. It has no impact value whatsoever. There's the black one. Just gets the hell out of the way. These white ones are the ones. Now, at a certain point, the white ones have to recombine with the black. And it's right at this exact spot they start to recombine. So there's a distance out here that says after you get a certain ways away, find a black ball to reattach to. So my feeling is the black ones are the I'm sorry, not antimatter. They're the muons, and they are the dark matter, and they are gravity. They're gravity. They're going to pull those white ones back together. You see them pulling them back? The white ones say, stay away from me. You stay away, you stay away. That's what creates these interference patterns, not because they're a wave going over another wave. That's a single slit. And the light is spinning like this. So some goes that way, and some comes over and goes this way. And I can prove that because I see them overlapping. And not from any waves, because it's going through the same slit. And I'll show you that. So Rodney has a very, very, very good case here that he is the one. 6 years ago, actually 5-6 years ago, we actually wrapped up our research on this because I wanted to prove electron flood theory. This is Rodney deserves credit for this. If I would never be able to prove electron flood theory without this. And now I can, and I can actually show charge separation. Absolutely phenomenal. And rejected for 5-6 years. Rodney has the right to be upset, and I do too.